Joseph's brothers go to Egypt, Genesis 42:45. The narrative of Joseph's brothers going to Egypt, recounted in Genesis 42:45, is a poignant and emotionally charged saga of reconciliation, redemption, and the transformative power of forgiveness. It follows the journey of Jacob's sons to Egypt to procure grain during the famine, their encounter with Joseph, whom they do not recognize, and the eventual revelation of Joseph's identity and the reunion of the family. The story begins with Jacob sending his sons, except for Benjamin, to Egypt to purchase grain, as famine has ravaged the land of Canaan. Unbeknownst to Jacob and his son, Joseph, now second in command over all of Egypt, oversees the distribution of grain and is in a position of authority and power. As Jacob's sons arrive in Egypt, they are brought before Joseph, who recognizes them but conceals his identity from them. Joseph accuses them of being spies and detains them in custody, demanding that they prove their honesty by bringing their youngest brother Benjamin to Egypt as proof of their integrity. Fearing for Benjamin's safety and unaware of Joseph's true identity, Jacob's sons recount the events of their journey to Egypt and the reasons for their presence in the land. They disclose to Joseph that they are the sons of Jacob and that they have a younger brother, Benjamin, whom their father loves dearly. Moved by their plight and the revelation of their family ties, Joseph devises a plan to test their sincerity and to ensure their commitment to bringing Benjamin to Egypt. He detains Simon as a hostage and instructs his brothers to return to Canaan with grain for their families, with the stipulation that they must bring Benjamin back with them on their next journey to Egypt. The narrative unfolds with Jacob's sons returning to Canaan and delivering the grain to their father, along with news of Simon's detainment and Joseph's demand for Benjamin's presence in Egypt. Jacob, reluctant to part with Benjamin and fearful of losing another son, refuses to allow Benjamin to accompany his brothers on the journey to Egypt. However, as the famine persists and the grain supply dwindles, Jacob is compelled to send his sons back to Egypt with Benjamin, entrusting them to the care of the God of their fathers. He implores them to take gifts and double the money they received on their previous journey, hoping to appease the Egyptian official and secure Simon's release. The narrative reaches its climax with Jacob's sons returning to Egypt with Benjamin and presenting themselves before Joseph once again. Joseph, overcome with emotion at the sight of Benjamin and his brothers, reveals his true identity to them, declaring, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt," Genesis 45:4. In a moment of profound reconciliation and forgiveness, Joseph reassures his brothers of his forgiveness and God's providential plan in orchestrating their journey to Egypt. He urges them to return to their father Jacob and to bring him and their families to Egypt to escape the famine and to dwell in the land of Goshen. The narrative concludes with Joseph embracing his brothers in tearful reunion, forgiving them for their past transgressions and extending to them the hand of reconciliation. He provides for them generously, bestowing upon them wagons, provisions, and clothing, and sends them back to Canaan with instructions to bring Jacob and their families to Egypt. In summary, the story of Joseph's brothers going to Egypt in Genesis 42:45 is a poignant and emotionally charged saga of reconciliation, redemption, and the transformative power of forgiveness. It illustrates the complexities of family relationships, the consequences of past actions, and the enduring faithfulness of God in guiding and directing the course of history. Through Joseph's encounter with his brothers and the revelation of his true identity, the narrative offers profound insights into the nature of forgiveness, reconciliation, and the restoration of broken relationships. The birth of Moses, Exodus 1:8-10. The birth of Moses, chronicled in Exodus 1:8-10, is a tale of resilience, divine intervention, and the triumph of hope in the face of adversity. It unfolds within the context of Israel's enslavement in Egypt and serves as the prelude to Moses' pivotal role in leading the Israelites out of bondage and towards liberation. The narrative begins with the Israelites flourishing and multiplying in the land of Egypt, despite their enslavement and oppression under the rule of a new Pharaoh who fears their growing numbers. Concerned by the perceived threat posed by the Israelites, Pharaoh institutes harsh measures to subdue and control them, ordering the Hebrew midwives to kill all male newborns at birth. In defiance of Pharaoh's decree, the midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, fear God and refuse to carry out his orders, allowing the Hebrew boys to live. Their courageous actions highlight the power of resistance in the face of tyranny and set the stage for the birth of Moses, who will play a crucial role in the liberation of his people. Against this backdrop of persecution and resistance, the narrative shifts to focus on the birth of Moses, the child of Amram and Jochebed, descendants of the tribe of Levi. Jochebed, compelled by her love for her son and her desire to protect him from Pharaoh's decree, hides him for 3 months before devising a plan to save his life. Jochebed constructs a waterproof basket made of bulrushes and places Moses inside, setting him adrift on the Nile River in the hope that he will be discovered and spared from Pharaoh's decree. Miriam, Moses' sister, watches from a distance as the basket floats among the reeds, ensuring his safety and well-being. Divinely orchestrated events unfold as Pharaoh's daughter, accompanied by her attendants, discovers the basket while bathing in the river. Moved with compassion by the sight of the crying infant, she recognizes him as a Hebrew child and resolves to take him as her own son, defying her father's decree and adopting him into the royal household. Miriam, seizing the opportunity, approaches Pharaoh's daughter and offers to find a Hebrew woman to nurse the child. Pharaoh's daughter agrees, and Miriam brings Moses' own mother, Jochebed, to serve as his nurse, thereby facilitating his upbringing within his own Hebrew heritage. Thus, Moses grows up in the palace of Pharaoh, raised as the son of the princess, yet instilled with a sense of his Hebrew identity and heritage by his biological family. His upbringing in the royal court affords him privileges and opportunities for education and influence, preparing him for the significant role he will play in the liberation of his people. The birth of Moses serves as a testament to the power of maternal love, divine providence, and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. It underscores the themes of courage, sacrifice, and hope, as Jochebed risks everything to save her son, and as Moses emerges as a symbol of deliverance and redemption for his people. In summary, the birth of Moses in Exodus 1:8-10 is a tale of resilience, divine intervention, and the triumph of hope in the face of adversity. It unfolds within the context of Israel's enslavement in Egypt and serves as the prelude to Moses' pivotal role in leading the Israelites out of bondage and towards liberation. Through the courageous actions of Jochebed, the compassionate intervention of Pharaoh's daughter, and the divine providence guiding Moses' upbringing, the narrative highlights the power of love, faith, and perseverance in overcoming oppression and heralding the dawn of freedom.
Moses and the burning bush, Exodus 3:1-15. Welcome to our channel. Today our video is Moses and the burning bush. After being kicked out of Egypt and feeling alone from his Hebrew people, Moses ends up taking care of sheep for his father in Midian, right in the wilderness. While he's there, he discovers the mountain of God, which is Mount Horeb, also called Mount Sinai, Exodus 19:11. In old times, people thought the tops of mountains were where divine beings lived. At this holy mountain, Moses sees something amazing, a bush that's on fire but isn't turning to ash. Fire is an important symbol in the Bible showing God's presence. Genesis 15:17, Exodus 14:24, 19:18, Leviticus 10:2, Acts 2:3. So, this burning bush acts like a strong symbol of the divine. It's kind of like a window into God's presence that lets us peek in. The flame keeps burning, showing God's mercy as he comes down from his heavenly height to meet Moses where he is. At the same time, this fire shows how holy God is. It's both scary and comforting. God tells Moses to take off his sandals. This means respect for the holy ground. Taking off shoes in holy places happens in many religions today, including Islam. It shows how important the place is. For Moses, taking off his shoes also marks a special moment in his spiritual journey. By removing his sandals, Moses realizes he's stepping into a real home, not among other people, but with God, the God of his ancestors. Exodus 3:6. In Exodus 3:7-15, God tells Moses to go back to Egypt and free the Israelites from slavery so they can reach Canaan's promised land. Just like other stories in the Bible where someone gets called to do big things like Jeremiah in 1:10, Moses isn't too sure and has some doubts. He wonders if he's even qualified for this job. But God comforts him by saying, "I will be with you." 3:12. When Moses asks what God's name is, he responds with something really deep. "I am who I am." 3:14. A better way to say this would be, "I will be who I will be," coming from the Hebrew word for to be. It connects to Yahweh-Ehu, a name so sacred in Jewish tradition that it isn't spoken out loud. This special name reveals and also hides something at the same time. It encourages folks to dig deeper into understanding who God is as we read on. In Exodus 20:2-6, when giving the 10 Commandments, God explains more about his name. He calls himself a jealous God, punishing but showing steadfast love, stressing both his fairness and kindness. Then in Exodus 29:46, we learn more about God's nature. He wants to live with his people, saying, "I am the Lord their God who brought them out of Egypt." Exodus 34:6-7 gives us a true understanding of God's name, first mentioned back in Exodus 3:14 as, "I will be who I will be." It tells us that no matter how complicated things get or what justice requires sometimes, at heart, God's essence is all about love and mercy. For more videos, please like, share, and want blessings, subscribe to our channel.